Have you ever tried to open a really big data set and your computer just grinds to a halt? Yeah, we've all been there. When your data gets too big for a single machine, you've hit a wall. And that's when you need a totally different way of thinking and a super powerful tool called PySpark. Let's dive in and see how it all works. So when you hit that wall, you really have two choices. You could go with vertical scaling, which basically means trying to build one single gigantic supercomputer. But, that gets crazy expensive and you eventually hit a limit. The much smarter approach? Horizontal scaling. Instead of one big machine, you connect a bunch of normal computers and get them to work together as a team. This right here is the secret sauce behind all modern big data processing. And the conductor of this whole computer orchestra? That's a tool called Apache Spark. It's this incredible engine built from the ground up to manage that team of computers, splitting up the data and the work so you can analyze datasets that would literally be impossible to handle on your own. And when you use it with Python, which is what we're doing, we call it PySpark.
Okay, but how does Spark manage this whole team of computers without it all just turning into total chaos? Well, it all comes down to a really clear and, frankly, elegant structure. Let's take a look at the blueprint.
Think of it like a really well-run construction site. First, you, the user, submit your code to the driver node. The driver is basically the project manager. It looks at your instructions, figures out the whole plan, and breaks it down into a bunch of smaller, manageable tasks. Then it goes to a cluster manager and says, hey, I need some workers. Finally, those worker nodes get their assignments and get to work, all doing their little tasks at the same time. It's this parallel processing that makes Spark so incredibly fast.
But here is where Spark gets really clever. It has this core principle called lazy evaluation. See, it doesn't just blindly follow your commands one by one as you type them. Now, that would be inefficient. Instead, it listens to everything you want to do, builds a complete blueprint of the entire job, and only then does it figure out the absolute fastest, most optimized way to execute the whole plan at once. It thinks before it acts. This flow really shows you how Spark's brain works. So first, you tell it to do a transformation, like, say, filtering some data. Notice nothing actually happens yet. Spark just nods and adds it to its logical plan. You can keep adding more and more steps. It's only when you finally say, okay, show me the results, what Spark calls an action, that the magic happens. Spark looks at the entire plan you built, optimizes it, and then all the workers execute it in the most efficient way possible. All right, that's enough theory for now. Let's get our hands dirty and see what this actually looks like. The very first step in any data project is, well, getting the data in. So let's see how we do that in PySpark.
We're going to be working with this simple file, a CSV of sales data. Pretty standard stuff, right? It's got product IDs, what type of item it is, and the price. Right now, it's just a boring old file sitting on a disk. Let's bring it into the Spark ecosystem.
And check this out. With just this one single line of code, we tell Spark to go read that file, we tell it the file has a header, and then we load it into something we're calling DF. That DF stands for data frame, which is Spark's fundamental data structure. Now, it might look like a simple table, but don't be fooled. Under the hood, it's this incredibly powerful distributed object that's spread across our entire team of computers.
And boom, just like that, our data isn't just a file anymore. It's now a living, breathing Spark data frame, distributed across our cluster and ready for some serious, high-speed analysis. Okay, the data is officially loaded. Now the fun begins. We can start to shape it and ask it questions. Let's start with two of the most fundamental operations you'll ever do, selecting just the columns you want and filtering for just the rows you need. And remember, these are just transformations, so we're still just building our plan.
So let's say for our analysis, we only really care about the type of item and its price. We can use the .select method to tell Spark, hey, just show me these two columns and ignore the rest. It's perfect for focusing your view. And there's the result. See how much cleaner that is? Our data frame is now narrowed down to just the information we need for our next question.
Next up, what if we want to zoom in on a specific category? The filter method is your best friend here. With this line, we're asking Spark to show us only the rows where the item type is exactly soft drinks.
And just like that, our entire massive data set is now filtered down to just the soft drinks. You can see how easily you can chain these commands together to slice and dice your data to find exactly what you're looking for.
Now, selecting and filtering, that's your bread and butter. It's essential. But the real reason we use tools like Spark is to see the big picture. How do we take thousands or even billions of individual records and roll them up into one meaningful insight? Well, that's where aggregation comes in.
And this is where it all comes together. This is the payoff. With one incredibly powerful and readable line of code, we're telling PySpark to do something amazing. Group the entire dataset by the item's type, and then for each of those groups, calculate the average price. Let's see what we get.
And there it is, our final answer. Just look at that. We took all of that raw, messy sales data, and with just a few commands, we've transformed it into this clean, simple summary table. We went from thousands of rows to a crystal clear insight, the average price for every single category in the store. This is what PySpark is all about, finding that signal in all the noise.
So let's just do a quick recap of the journey we just took. We started with that classic big data problem. We looked under the hood at Spark's master worker architecture, we loaded data into a data frame, we used transformations like select and filter to shape our data, and finally, we used an aggregation to pull out a real actionable insight. Not bad, right? You now have the fundamental building blocks for working with absolutely massive datasets. And the cool thing is, these same principles, they apply whether you have 1,000 rows or 1 trillion rows. So the only question left is, what data problems are you going to solve?